Hi, my name is Sean Howard, and I am the coordinator in the Omaha, Nebraska area. And I'm excited to dig into Doctor Mastery Practice 7 with you today. Now, we're probably mostly at the beginning of the year again, so I just want to give you a few tips and tricks on maybe how to go about this lesson in a good way, and just some reminders about doctoral mastery practice lessons in general. So if we skip over real quick to the doctoral mastery training under doctoral mastery practice lessons, just a quick reminder, we only have these lessons about every 4 to 6 weeks, and they're very purposeful, and they're designed in a way to accomplish the goals of doctoral mastery. And so there's two sections. There's a doctoral mastery review section and a learn and apply principles of acquiring spiritual knowledge. So I just want to read this little doctoral mastery review. It just says, in the doctoral mastery review section, students will practice understanding and explaining doctrine using the doctoral mastery passages, locating the doctoral mastery scripture passages, and memorizing the key scripture phrases, and applying the doctrine taught in these passages. Now, this is important. Although these reviews are important and should be a regular part of students' learning experiences, manage class time effectively so the majority of time is given to the learn and apply principles of acquiring spiritual knowledge section. So it's really important that the front half of this and the kind of old scripture mastery or doctoral mastery review doesn't take precedence over this whole lesson, but that we protect time, at least like 15 to 20 minutes of our lesson time, to have the doctoral mastery learn and apply principles of acquiring spiritual knowledge experience. And so let's go to the lesson and let's get a few ideas as we go throughout. So we're going to focus on giving opportunities to practice mastering the doctrine mastery passages and the doctrine they teach, but we're also going to learn and apply divine principles for acquiring spiritual knowledge and help our students do that. And especially it's early on in the year and we haven't had all of the acquire spiritual knowledge lessons, so you might need to, when you get to that portion, just spend a little bit more time and invite them to go into the core document so that they can remind themselves of what acquiring spiritual knowledge is and the three principles applied there. But I want to give a quick caution. I won't say too much about it. You can decide where you're going to focus, but I like this starting where we're going to have a brief activity to just help our students remember the importance of memorizing doctoral mastery references and key scripture phrases. I would just say don't take much more than 3 to 4 minutes here. This could eat up a lot of time if you do all of these things and really go deep into these questions. Really, the only purpose of this is just trying to get kind of the fire in our hearts of like, yeah, let's learn some scriptures, and they're important to make our best friends, and then move on to the doctoral mastery activity. So I would invite this to make that go quicker. You might, for preparation before this class comes, you might invite them to do this before time. Invite students to think of times in their lives when a doctoral mastery passage or another scripture has come to their minds in a time of need. I would make that as a preparation so they come kind of primed and ready, a few of them, to share some things. But again, after you have that experience and kind of get the fire lit of how important it is to work on scriptures and memorize them and really make them your best friend, then it says this: give time to treasure God's words in their minds by memorizing or working on some of those key phrases. Now, we're early on in the semester, so you probably need to have a progressive approach to mastering the doctoral mastery scriptures. You can't just dive right into them. We got to start easy and then start to build how we work with them throughout the semester. So I really like this activity. I would highly recommend it if you have not really done any doctoral mastery prep or anything, and they're just coming in and you're introducing some of these scriptures for the first time. Making flashcards of their own and writing that down, that's a really good activity, learning activity to help them begin with. But if you are like some other people, you've maybe already primed the pump a little bit and done some doctoral mastery things, I actually want to share a idea with you that will help you be a much better or consistent doctoral mastery teacher. The best teachers that I've known over many, many years that really help their students master the doctoral mastery scriptures, where they really know the references and they do their best to memorize them and just know them well, they don't do it in big chunks. They do just kind of like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. They do bite-sized little bits on a daily basis, just about, to have that repetition and consistency in doing that. So I want to share a quick idea with you. If you are feeling like that's you and you need to have that consistency and that's really going to help you, I just have a simple way of doing it. I call it the simple daily dose of mastering the passages. It's where you're just going to take maybe 1 to 3 minutes mostly, and maybe on some days 3 to 5 minutes to just do a quick little doctoral mastery activity, either as part of your devotional time or sometimes right at the end of class when you just have a few minutes left. But basically all you do, day 1, you're just going to recite the verse and the main phrase. You just do something simple to get it out there. Day 2, you're going to recite or read it and share the doctrine in just a quick way. Just a quick question of, hey, what's the doctrine in here and what's important? Day 3, you're going to switch it up. You're going to recite that scripture again. So you're just choosing one scripture per week or per every 2 weeks throughout the semester. Then on day 3, you're going to grab 3 to 5 doctrinal mastery passages that you're working on this semester, and you're just going to introduce them, and you're going to do a quick chase. At the beginning of the semester, I would just simply tell them the reference and have them chase to the reference, just because you're trying to get them used to the actual passages and what they are. When they do chase, I just recommend having them chase, and they have to get there in their scriptures, whatever type of scriptures they have, but then they have to put their finger on the actual verse to show that they know the verse and they're there for it to matter. So have some fun with that. Again, no more than 5 minutes top on this day, just to do a little Doctrine Master review. Day 4, recite and talk about application in some way. Again, just 2 to 3 minutes max on this day. You're just really just touching the surface and helping to have the repetition. Day 5, you're going to go back to a recite and then do a chase for 3 to 5 minutes or scriptures on doctrinal masteries. Now, I give some ideas on variations on day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in these slides. I'd recommend just taking a look at them. It'll just make it easy as you go throughout week to week to do these, and then I give a few variations on what you could do for the chase time. Again, no more than about 5, 6, 7 minutes ever on the chase time. The purpose is not to take a lot of time. That's not really what helps our students. It's just that little consistency of exposure on a consistent basis. So I'd really recommend this year, if you can, give a little simple daily dose of mastering the Doctrine Mastery Scriptures. Now let's go back to the lesson. I'm going to hit the slides on this one. As you get done with chasing, you get to the point where you're going to learn and apply the principles of acquiring spiritual knowledge. And you have the scenario. It's pretty good. As with all scenarios, I might ask my students if they have a scenario or something about the word of wisdom that has kind of come up that they'd be more interested in talking about. But then as you dig in and you go through this lesson, you're going to have the chance to maybe do a little bit of the group work and have students come up with questions in that. So I put in here a little Google Doc link and a QR code to that Google Doc that could help with that group work, especially if you're on a Zoom meeting or even in a class. If you want the students to go to that Google Doc and just really have something that could be shared and you can project on the screen, you just go through the activity. Here's the scenario. You'll ask a question as a class before, and then you can split up into your groups, and you just, if you need to, have them quickly review their paragraph of their principle of act in faith, examine concepts and questions, or seek further understanding. And you just have them do this as a group. Again, if you're on Zoom, very effective because you can see what's going on and everybody can see what's being edited as you're doing it, and you have that good experience. Again, if you're ever doing group work, always give assignments to each person in the group so they have something to do and keep them busy as part of that group. Now, I hope that's helpful. I hope you have a great week.